Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
Just for your information, we try to be very strict with the time, okay, just to allow everybody to participate during the session. We will split it in a first block on conceptual framework with 2 speakers. They will have between 10 and 15 minutes to share their ideas, their projects, their approach, okay, and later we will go to the blocks of needs and potential solutions, okay, and on those blocks, the suggestion is to limit our participation to 3 minutes maximum, just to be able to allow everybody to participate if possible, okay? So just going directly to the first block of conceptual framework. Delphine, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Welcome.
Yes, okay. You can hear me because I had some issues connecting on my computer, but with my phone, I think it's okay. I hope so.
Yeah, we are hearing you very, very well. Do you want to present? I'm giving you the presentator rights, or if not, I can show your presentation. What do you prefer?
If you can show it, I think it will be easier for me because from my phone it becomes hard.
No problem. You are using your phone, I understand.
Thank you very much.
No problem at all. Just one moment, I'm opening it.
Thank you very much.
You are really welcome. Okay, I'm looking for it here. Okay, I take again the control. Now. Here it is. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to present to you these few slides. So the topic would be to consider the possibility to boost EU economy through the use of social voucher to target consumption towards specific sector. I don't know. You can see my presentation,
yes.
Or yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Just as I had some issues in connecting, my colleague Nathalie Renaudin, with the director for public affairs of Edenred, is connected too. So if I shut down at some point, she will take over, and yes, I guess also she can come also to complement my sometimes my answers to you. So anyway, if you can go to the next slide, please. It's the agenda. I will try to make it fast, but to give you the more insight that I can. So the idea will be to provide you with some information about what are social vouchers, what are their key features, and some figures about their development. And then I will go through the example of the eco voucher, which is a practice that has been developed in a crisis context too in 2009. And then to the specifics of our proposal in the context of the COVID pandemic. So the next slide, please. Yeah, so social vouchers, yes, thank you, I see it. Social vouchers are social benefits that are distributed to workers by their employers, which provide the right to access some specific goods and services that improve generally the working condition of the workers and facilitate their work-life balance. So as they are developed in a really defined condition, they can be used only in a dedicated network of merchants and providers, which have a contract relationship with the voucher issuer, and this ensures their proper efficiency. They are not exchangeable against cash also, and they are developed on the basis of national tax and social framework, so there's a legal basis behind, which ensures that they are really developed properly and they develop and stimulate local and national economy and the specific sector. So the next slide, please. So as I said, they are really instruments of social policy, which is behind, and they can be adapted to the priorities of public authorities and to their needs and to their objectives. So the public policy behind and the legal framework behind is really designed to be sure that the political objective is reached. The first social vouchers to have been developed is the meal voucher, which is an alternative to the canteen and gives access to food and to restaurant during the working day for the workers. But on the very same model, some other vouchers have been developed to ensure access to other kind of services. So it's for instance, the case for personal and household services, so services like childcare or domestic work at home to clean the house that are a solution for work-life balance. There's also a lot of transport vouchers to ease commuting of workers from home to their work, or some culture vouchers. There are plenty of them that have been developed. All of them, I insist, are developed really according to the needs of the local authorities and on the basis of a legal framework. And this legal framework makes it sustainable and efficient, and also makes the fact that these social vouchers have common and recognized impacts. So one of them is really that they boost the local economy because they provide incentives to go to some specific kind of merchants and providers. And they also tackle undeclared work because they provide some transparency in the whole process. And they do have back effects for public finances also. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Yes, some key figures about social vouchers. So they are implemented now in 46 countries worldwide and in 19 EU member states. They are used by more than 80 million people every day. Yes, just to show you the big picture. And I would like also maybe to provide you now with some facts about the benefits for participating merchant and service providers that accept the mechanism. So for them, it's really providing more regular revenues because the voucher can be spent only in these specific providers and merchants. And it's a real boost for local economy because they have immediate or limited time use. So they really enable to support consumption versus savings. So it's really something that has to be used and to obtain only some specific goods and services. It's not like money. And there's a regular use behind it because there's a specific amount. Sometimes there's also a threshold and a limited daily amount, which contributes really to regular revenue generated in the network of merchants. So it really supports targeted consumption and also local jobs. Also, a really interesting point for merchants is that it's a guarantee of reimbursement behind this tool because it's a prepaid tool. And there's also, it's also worth noting that there's a knock-on effect because it's, as I said before, it stimulates demand in specific merchants and stores and services providers. But also when people enter a shop with a social voucher, they tend to buy more, to consume more than the value of the voucher per se, so it leads to additional spending from the consumer. So, for instance, in the case of meal voucher, this knock-on effect is estimated at more than twice the initial voucher value, which is quite important. If you can go to the next slide, please, I will try to go through a specific example, which is the eco voucher that has been developed in Belgium in 2009 in a really specific context, because it was also a crisis moment there. At the economical level, as you know, just after the 2008 crisis, citizens had economical difficulty and low purchasing power, but also because at this time in Belgium, there were no government to act. It was a really long political crisis at the moment. At the same time, the environmental consciousness was rising, with a strong willingness from various sectors and merchants also to boost the green agenda. And that's why the National Labour Council, which is an organization gathering social partners in Belgium, and which has the ability to elaborate conventions that are legally binding, had the idea, this National Labour Council, to develop the eco voucher. So the eco voucher is a tool which has three major objectives. The first one is to increase the purchasing power for the workers. The second one is to encourage sustainable consumption, and the third one to boost local economy. So the eco voucher gives access to energy efficient products, to organic food, for instance, also to circular economy and recycling products, to all these kind of environmental friendly products only, within a really strict network of merchants and providers. So if you can go to the next slide, please. I wanted only to show you some key figures that have been developed on the basis of studies, because now we have 10 years of existence of this practice in Belgium. So it's touching 1.6 million workers that receive up to 250 euros per year on the basis of the eco voucher, and they have access to 1,000 products and services restricted to this kind of energy efficient, organic, environmental friendly services and products, as I said before. So it's a targeted spending to this specific product within a network of merchants, which is specified, but which provide also a kind of freedom of choice for the beneficiaries that can choose between 1,000 products and services. There's currently 80,000 employers that are providing such solution for their workers. They benefit from a tax break on fiscal and social charges, and it boosts their employee retention, the motivation and attractiveness for the jobs in their company. It gives access to 10,000 merchants, which receive in this context around 250 million euros per year. So it's safeguard also the level of consumption in local store versus the use through the web. For the public authorities, there's an additional tax and social charges collection. And more importantly, to go to the specificities of the legal framework behind and the policy behind, we have some studies that prove that it changed also the consumption practices among beneficiaries of the system, and that there's a really concrete environmental impact with CO2 saving for each euro spent through the eco voucher. I do have a lot of more figures, but I would like to go through it quickly. But if you do have some question afterwards, I can go through it after. And yes, if you, sorry?
free now.
If you can go through the...
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So I wanted also to tell you that the eco voucher has been recognized at the EU level as a good practice within the European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform in November 2019, so just 6 months ago. And if you can go through the next slide, I will try to provide you with some further insight about the idea and the proposal about social voucher in the COVID pandemic context. So it's on the next slide, please.
No.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. So as I said, social voucher can be used in a specific system. That is to say that employer provides these vouchers to their employees during their working day to give them access to specific goods and services. But social voucher can also be used by public authorities as an alternative to in-kind allocation or allocation in cash for maybe helping people with specific needs. In the COVID pandemic, we had 2 weeks ago the adoption of some amendments for the distribution modalities of the Fund for European Aid to the Most Deprived, which now gives the possibility to provide this fund for really frail population through voucher. And the idea of the European Commission that proposed this at the beginning and that then had been endorsed by the other European institution was to provide it through a safer environment and also to ease the work of NGOs or food banks that were really overwhelmed by the crisis and the need of the people coming to them. And this is one example of what social voucher can do to distribute help to people in need in case of crisis. We do have also a lot of other examples in other countries. I pointed out in this slide 2 other examples that I think are interesting for you. In the UK, for instance, we have developed as from the beginning of the COVID crisis, a social voucher on the form of a QR code, which is used by more than 1 million school children and provides them with a weekly allowance of £15 to purchase a balanced lunch to replace the free school lunch they normally have. In Italy, we have also developed a social voucher for municipalities for food provision during this particular period for those in greatest needs. And there's, for the moment, 116 municipalities that are implemented this system. And if you can go through the next slide, I would like to raise some information about the fact that social voucher are some solution to boost local economy in specific sector through this targeted spending, as I explained before, because they are quickly adaptable solutions, so they can be developed really fast under different form. It can be paper-based voucher, also cards, or digital. As I said, in the UK, we have QR codes. They really channel demand to specified economic sector. They support the policies behind the stimulus policies. They encourage consumption. It is the case for various sectors. It can be for food services, for tourism, for personal and household services, for agriculture. It's even much more important for this kind of services like personal and household services like childcare or domestic work or long-term care, and also agriculture where people may have lower working condition level, and it's really important for them not to have them going to bad social conditions to help them also in this regard. So it's a social voucher can boost local economy, as I said before, because they support a determined sector of the economy with additional revenues. It's really an investment in the dedicated sector. And they create local jobs because they can't be outsourced. They formalize undeclared work with better working conditions and social inclusion. As I said before, for specific sectors, it's really important also. They also is the job of SMEs because, yes?
We need to close.
Yes.
Please.
Yes, sure, but it's really my last slide.
I know that is very difficult. Last 30 seconds, please, just to close.
Yes, but actually it was really my last slide, so it's really the end. I would like to say that this is a quote from the paper we are proposing now, but I wanted also to raise the point that there's a lot of institutional organizations that are supporting the point. For instance, World Tourism Organization is encouraging now the development of such solutions for holiday vouchers. So I guess it's really a way to help targeting and developing and rebuild local economies and boost some specific sectors with this targeting of the spendings.
Thank you very much.
Sorry to have been longer than expected.
I know that it's a big challenge to summarize something so big and so important. Okay, so congratulations for your presentation is very, very well organized. And if you don't mind, we will share it in our in the forum, in the ECCP COVID19 Forum. Okay, thank you. We will have the opportunity to comment on it now. Okay, later. But now it's the turn for Pablo. Okay. Pablo Fernandez, welcome. I will show you now here. Okay, I don't know what happens with this computer. But Pablo Fernandez del Castillo from Comonomia. Pablo, are you there? Pablo? We cannot hear you. Now, perhaps?
Yes, can you?
Yes. Welcome, Pablo. Thank you. I think that you want for me to share the web page, the communify. That's right?
Yes, please.
So the floor is yours. Welcome.
Yeah, so I'm part of the organization Comunomia, which is the association that promotes this project. And we have organized the last few years several events around the collaborative economy. And through this learning process, we found it appropriate to draw from the learning process of sharing the knowledge with speakers that came to our event, and distill a model that we found would encompass the needs of the current economic situation. I happen to also be an interpreter at the European Union, and I have combined working in meetings around in the Eurogroup, ECOFIN, the summits, and following the crisis, and somehow the void that is there for something else to be built, thinking outside the box. So what is this project Communify? We find that the examples of boosting local economies stay short of having a global impact. So the proposal here is that to create a number of tools that can allow a global system to be implemented. So one of the tools is a marketplace where consumers and producers can meet, both in a peer-to-peer level and business to consumer level. And this local economy marketplace allows, as you see, it's already in a number of languages. And when we scroll down, we can see that these local economies can interconnect. So you understand that you can replicate in each given territory. So in community, in communify, we do, as you see, mapping. So all entities and initiatives can be in a given territory, can be shown in this marketplace. Then the idea is also to buy local, boost the local economy, 0 kilometer, local business, restaurants, home delivery, local professional craft design, and then also all these resources that can be shared, like sharing a car, sharing a home, sharing spaces, tool libraries where we share tools instead of buying each one its own. So these are all possibilities, as you see, boosting the circular economy, local tourism, where you can introduce accommodation experiences, local guides, focus on caregiving, culture, learning, also manufacturing. So the idea is that through the effect of communicating vessels, you will reach all go from one sector to another and have a complete view of the economy of a given territory. We find that this is the only way that actually there can be an alternative to the model of extractive platforms that has been developed. It is very difficult to compete against venture capital that has boosted Uber or Airbnb. But through the interconnection of all the sectors of the local economy and connect them through the different territories where they evolve, it is absolutely possible to have the means to compete as local economies together in networks with these global giants, and have obviously a productive impact in the territories where it is developed. So this is how it works. Local nodes, we have the connectors, which are the actors that bring the communify closer to the communities and activate the participation in that work. And then obviously there's a need to seek for hybridization of what is digital with the physical. So here we have the concept of the commons factory. So civic spaces where people can meet and create these communities of users. It can be a space for production, like 3D printing, sharing the means of production in a number of sectors. It could be a space for education, for culture, or showcasing local design or craft. And of course, it is important to have an alliance with the local authorities that can help provide infrastructure, help with create a regulatory framework that boosts these kind of alternative, and can help also to fund the development of communified as a network. One key element of communify is that it introduces a complementary currency. If you scroll down, we'll find Nexus. which is this. Here's how you can be connected nexus. All right. So it is a complementary currency, and it's a non-convertible currency, so it cannot be exchanged to euros forth and back. And one nexo is equivalent of €1. It does not generate interest and oxidizes, which means it loses value over time, which has the effect of boosting the velocity of exchange. And one key feature of Next introduces a monthly collaborative income. So it's a form of using the concept of basic income, but without asking for permission to develop it. It is simply through the development of trust within a community that the currency can be used to boost demand within the network. So the idea is that right now we have a key problem is that we have the needs are there, more urgent than ever, and people don't have the means to exchange. People have the production ability, but they don't have they don't have the way to connect to those that have the needs. Obviously, there's a tendency to focus more in the production. I think is the focus here of the clusters. But there is no economy if there are no consumers, and consumers cannot be active in the market if they don't have the means to exchange. So that is the idea of having a complementary currency to allow also to develop a specific market for the local economies that can help them compete with these global agents that obviously will not be present and will not be able to benefit from the demand in the complementary currency. And one key difference from other currencies that are being developed all over the world, complementary currencies, is that this currency has the potential of being not only mainly local, but it can also be a global currency via this development of the local nodes. So I'm developing the local node in Brussels, where I'm based, and the currency will be able to be used in Brussels, the Canary Islands. I'm talking with other regions or the territories. So it can also be a way of creating means to exchange in a global value chain and connect not only what is specifically local, which is food production, care, but also be able to connect what are global services. Digital services can be exchanged obviously on a global scale. So in this way, this model is at the same time local and global, and it can have the potential of scaling up by replication in nodes in different territories, and allow all existing projects to keep their individuality. So it is not like Communify wants to be the Amazon of the collaborative economy, but it can draw together shared resources that allows projects to emerge and develop and showcase within a shared platform, and then also convey and develop each project that are being developed in all over the world. So this is the idea that tries to help in developing a resilient community, and also to change the paradigm of production. We talk about sustainable growth when what we should be talking about is the growth of sustainability. and how to grow sustainabilities also by developing closer economic ties between consumers and producers by boosting local economies, but by creating global tools that can be shared through projects that have the same values and the same needs. It is absurd to repeat the technological development, costly technological development many times, only to achieve a very small niche of the market. Sharing tools and sharing projects is the way to be able to have an impact. And I expect that also at the European institutions, DG Grow, they also understand the potential of not trying to replicate the model of the unicorns from Silicon Valley, but have a model in the European Union that is closely connected to local economies and a fairer system, because it is also a matter of where does the money go to. So if we boost local economies and local platforms, it will the taxation will go to the member countries and will not be sucked out by extractive global actors. And that is my short.
Thank you very much, Pablo. It has been very clear, very instructive, and I think that we have seen two examples, excellent examples of what can be done from a social perspective to reinforce the local businesses and the society itself. So, comments, questions, proposals on this topic. The floor is now for you, everyone. Who's the first? I'm sure that there are a lot of interesting questions open in the air. I have a question for Delphine. Delphine, where can I see the list of countries that has implemented your model or has laws supporting it?
Okay, yes, there's for the moment 46 countries worldwide using social vouchers. We do have, I mean, in the website of our company, there's the list, absolutely. And also you can find some other insights which are more global on the Social Voucher International Association website. And they are developed in 19 EU member states, if it can help. Most of them, I mean, it's nearly all the member states except Baltic one, and in Scandinavia and some of the yes. I mean, they are developed really well in continental Europe and in Eastern countries.
Spain does have support of this kind of vouchers?
Yes, sure, absolutely.
They are really to have some.
It's really well developed in Spain, a lot.
Yeah, I have in the screen. You have the link to the ECCP COVID-19 Forum, where we have created a specific topic for today. And if you want to add there some information, it will be good for everyone to share the more deep comments or information or other examples there. Okay, we will also put the video of the session there later. Okay, so thank you. More. There is anybody that wants to comment or propose another example, another approach?
Hello, good morning all. I have one question. I would like to know if there is a difference between universal basic income with the social vouchers. If it is exactly the same, or if there is some difference between these two approaches.
Who answers that?
Yeah, I didn't catch everything, but I guess it was the difference between social voucher and the provision in
universal basic income. Do you want me to answer, Delphine?
Oh, if you want, I didn't catch very well the question.
Yeah, hello, good morning to everyone. Yeah, the question, if I understood correctly, was the difference with the universal basic income that we've been speaking a lot as well, especially in this crisis context.
Exactly.
Actually, a little bit different in the fact that social vouchers have specific characteristics that make their use very different from income, from cash. First of all, because it is targeted. So depending on the social vouchers, depending on the willingness behind, you can use these vouchers only in a very specific and dedicated network in order to make sure that you will recover in this specific network. If it's catering, if it's tourism, if it's transport, agriculture. So also maybe personal and household services, as Delphine mentioned earlier, where there are some very specific needs. So that's the first main difference with universal income. And the second difference as well is that you can target the beneficiaries, which is a bit different as well, because with the general universal income, you never really know who will benefit from it. You know who you are giving it to, but not really who will be using it. So there is a kind of tracking in order to make sure you can monitor the way it is used. And also it is limited in time. That means that social vouchers, you cannot save the money, which is also an important point under discussion currently, because we're speaking a lot about how to use current savings. This is really some allowances that need to be used because they are supposed to meet an urgent or immediate need. So you cannot save this money and you are sure that it will be part of the overall channel of consumption in the local economy, in the specific sector. That's really the objective, to boost this specific sector of activity. So I think that's the three main differences. There are other differences, obviously, but that's the key main differences with universal basic income, I think.
If you allow me to introduce also a comment on basic income.
Wow.
In the way we propose it is cash. It is cash, so it's the idea that's the feature of the monthly income is that it will develop as the offer of goods and services develops within the marketplace. So the more offer you have on the marketplace, the higher the basic income can be within communify. And then it is not targeted, but it can be modulated since it's not decided by political advice. Certain goods, certain services, and you can also modulate. So the people that are using the currency more, obviously, are the ones that tend to have higher needs and that need to use the currency nexus because they don't have euros. So if you see that it is fully used, this means that the needs are there, so you can add, you can increase from the basic level to a higher level. And you can also modulate. Let's say you connect it to local transport. So if you use public transport, you can gain more nexus for your in your monthly basic income. You can stimulate culture. You can stimulate education. So it can also be used to boost certain values that the community decides to implement. And one feature that would be ideal is that if a deal would be reached with the municipalities, with the territories where it's implemented, there could be a tax levied on the transactions that would identify the territory where they have happened, and a sort of VAT tax, a consumption tax, could be levied, and then would go directly to the account of the municipality in question. So in this way, basic income would not only not cost money to the public administration, but it would also generate an income. And then in return, the municipality would help boost the trust in the currency by using it, for example, to compensate the voluntary work, let's say. So in this way, one can create the trust, the confidence in the currency that helps it boost and have a generative effect on the economy.
Thank you very much, Pablo. More questions? Or proposals or comments? I have one. How do you relate with because you know that at least myself and some others here, we work on clusters and companies, okay, and the innovative ecosystem. How do you relate with companies? With do you see yourself in relationship with clusters? Who could we help?
Yes, so for example, in this this also the feature of mutual credit in this currency in the model that's already developed was developed in the 1920s in Switzerland, the Via Bank that is still currently working, and it's I think around 1/5 of the economy. It helps. So there's a mutual credit system between the Swiss companies, and it also working, for example, in Sardinia. The most used complementary currency was called Sardix. So obviously, using common tools, for example, if the tourist sector, by using tools that connect the offer from many different territories, you can develop a network that allows the tourist offer from the Canaries connect with the ones from Madrid, from Brussels or Prague. So in this way, you can avoid paying the large commission that is taken by, let's say, for example, Booking or Airbnb, and you can have as a cluster, a tourist cluster, can have cheaper tools that can be shared and allow you to be more competitive. And the same goes for designers or can be in the food sector. So you can develop the means to exchange and avoid value loss within the chain of of supply and reaching the customers.
Thank
Work
you,
in all
Pablo.
clusters.
Thank you, Pablo.
I have several questions. May I, Antonio?
For sure, Aurora.
Okay, for the voucher, my question is, how does that compare with the meals voucher that exists nowadays or existed before, and how are they taxed? How are the taxes that the employees have to pay when they receive those vouchers? For relating to Nexus, how can you assure that is used to protect the most closer than the local businesses, as this is so large? Also, how is it taxed when you receive the first Nexus? And how do operate the rules that apply to money? This is money. How do you control how much is issued? How do you control inflation? The rules that are applied to money. Sorry, thank you.
Yes, so the way it works in when you deal with business is that it's presented as discount. So you can offer a discount in any shop, any business, and that is not taxed at the moment in the current system. So if you instead of a discount you receive a complimentary currency, well, it's exempt from taxation. And how do we guarantee that that it goes to the local economy? Well, the actors that are allowed within the marketplace are not global actors. So you will have the local clothing production, but you won't have Zara. You will not have Carrefour on the marketplace. So if you want food and you want to use the local currency, you will have to go to the local market. Obviously, if you there's also this idea of having a sort of global combination of a global and local system that allows you to connect with products and services that are abroad, but it would stay a partial, so one opportunity, but most of the exchange will happen with your closer providers. So, but the idea that you can be also part of the global economy together as local economies, I think, has a very strong potential.
Can I make a question about this? Yeah, sorry. Thank you very much. Also,
Pasco on. Pasco?
Sorry.
We are not.
Yes, I was muted. Thank you very much. How do you define local and the dimension of local?
Well, local, it's a very good question. The communify platform has a geo-localization of the ad that so when you offer a product or a service, you can see where you are located. So you can search within your town, you can search within your, for example, island in the Canary Islands where this is started, or you can search in a larger way. So we are not dogmatic into fitting it into a a certain model of local. It is. It's also depends. This is a minimum viable product. So to start testing the value proposal in the market, it depends on where we have an interest, what kind of local nodes are getting developed, to see what geographical scope can be tested within communify.
Delphine.
Yeah, yes, thank you. I wanted to first answer to the previous question and then go back to this one. Actually, I had the question about the meal voucher and the link with social voucher. The meal voucher is the first social voucher that has been deployed. And on this very same model, other vouchers have been deployed on other issues and for boosting other sectors according to the need of public authorities. So it's really a way to develop and to implement a policy and to support a policy for specific sectors. So how it is implemented, I explained it briefly before, but there's a tax exemption for the employer that provides a voucher to its employees, and the employees also do benefit from tax break. So it was really the question that was raised. So social voucher again can be developed in this model to provide employees that are working within companies, and these companies can provide them with a social voucher to give them access to specific goods and services. So it can be meal, if it's a meal voucher, so access to food, but it can be also have access to transport. If it's the idea is to help them in commuting from work to job, things like that. And it can be also developed as an alternative to provide something, an allocation in cash or in kind. But it's more, I would say, to maybe complement the previous question about the universal income. It's more maybe it's closer maybe social voucher to the income provision, because it gives access to goods and services and not it's not universal, so it's not cash. It's really something providing a counterpart to have access to goods and services and specific ones. So it gives a choice within a network of retailers that give you access to these goods and services, but it's limited, and so you have the choice to have access to the food you want, for instance, if it provides access to food, but it's you can't buy something else. I mean, so it's giving you choice. For instance, we had the examples with food for the European aid to the most deprived, that some people were allergic to gluten, and they were receiving some pasta in the food box they were receiving from the food banks, and the social voucher gives them the possibility to have access to the foods they can eat. So it's really something fundamental, and it's where maybe we can relate it to the role of companies and everything, that they are really within the network of stakeholders that is created behind the social voucher, because we put in relation a lot of people, and it's really our role to do so as a social voucher issuer, and we create really a link between the companies that provide these vouchers to their employees, but also to some retailers, shops at the local level, and local level there can mean maybe as it is developed within a legal framework at the national level, but also by local authorities. It's really domestic scope, or it can be also municipality or regional, depending of the legal framework behind.
Perfect. Thank you.
Do you mind just if I answer another part of the question? I'm sorry, I'm Natalie.
Yeah, but very quickly because we need to close, okay? But
yes, of course, it was just a question about legislation and how it was treated regarding money and if it creates inflation. And I think it's quite an important point because that's an important question. There is no creation of money in the case of social vouchers, so there is absolutely no inflation. And we base this really on studies from 60 years of experience in 50 countries, including in programs such as a program that boosts agriculture in Africa, for instance, because as Delphine mentioned, it can really be adapted to many different scopes, and local can be wide or very, very local at the city level. And the other question was, and which is linked, if it is treated as payment, services or e-money regarding this kind of legislation. Social vouchers have their own legislation, and as they do not bear the same characteristics as money, they are not included in such legislation, even if this is digital transfer of allowances, but it is actually more considered as a right because it is prepaid. So there again, there is no creation of money. So it is not e-money, it is not universal, it is dedicated, and it has its own legislations everywhere. That's all. Thank you.
thank you. That was very important to differentiate options and possibilities. Thank you very much.
Say 10 seconds, something on the inflation. If you have new modes of production, so peer-to-peer production, it is not the same as having the same production but more money. There are new producers that which allow to not have the inflation effect. So there is a new economic tissue developed, and that will not lead to inflation. And right now, what we have is deflation, and which is another economic risk. So it's not something that we should be fearing at this very moment.
Thank you, Pablo. Okay, we need to close. It has been very interesting. Please use the ECCP Forum, the link that you have in the chat to share more information and more comments or more questions. And I hope that this dialogue will inspire you in your next actions. For the rest of the week, you have the calendar in the screen. Tomorrow we will speak about the cooperation in France as inspiration also for what it can be done, okay, from the social side. On Wednesday, we are going to speak about smart bio cities. So please invite those clusters, those actors, those specialists that could be interested in this topic. And also on Thursday, we will have a very, very important session about IP rights, okay? IP rights versus open source, you could say, okay? And on Friday, we will speak about advanced textile. So please, if you think that there could be people in your network that will add value to the discussion, don't doubt to forward them the invitation. Thank you, everyone, and see you soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Nice day.